Okay, so I'm just gonna go over. So I usually do like a good session with personality assessments because I like to discover self discovery, this type of stuff, and then self exploration. Get yourself like just admiring who you are as a human being. But then I usually put it through painting since I'm self expression. So what I tend to do is use colors and different varieties of movement with the paint or textures or whatever have you to kind of just show that flow of colors, and so it can create something that tells a story of how you feel and just what you go through. So so pretty much what I like to do is just like self-reflect for a second of just like who you are, just like what you find are like your strengths, your beauty. Just admire yourself for a second and like take yourself in, be like, I look good, I feel good, I'm smart, I'm beautiful, I'm great, fun stuff there. And because the whole thing when it comes to like my art is that I want to help promote beauty within as well as help with that self-confidence piece and just feeling good towards yourself and really like treating yourself nicely with words. And so okay, so first comes to start is that have you ever done a disc assessment or like Myers-Briggs, you know and then do you remember what it would say about you, or do you so I guess the first question is like, how would you describe yourself?
That's an open-ended question.
Describe yourself in no.
Um,
Like if
art.
you had to like gas yourself up real quick.
I'm gassing myself up.
Yeah, you're gassing yourself up right now.
I'm very creative. I'm
All right, with the creativity.
confident, and I set my mind to something to do it, to get it done.
All right, tenacious.
Yes.
I feel like you're being modest. Okay, I feel it. I feel it. It's supposed to be like, I'm a beast. I do this.
I mean,
No,
I'm whatever.
so yeah, so like that's the whole thing. It's like just figuring out like who you are and really just what makes you unique. So and that's what I like about personality assessments. They always like will sit there and tell you like, oh, they always like, you get to really like play with it. But the great thing about them is they kind of give you this idea. So the assessment that I did was the DISC assessment, which is just another personality assessment. And it stands for dominance, influence, steadiness, and compliance, or conscientiousness, but I hate that word, so we're going to stick with compliance. Um, and so what they try to say is that each part of that, or like each one of those, is a part of you in some kind of way. And you push yourself like, or you like show yourself however which way, and one might be more dominant than the other, but at the end of the day you still maintain all of them. So just a little overview because I got prepared like that. Almost. Okay, so dominance, and I'm gonna tie this into art real quick, trust me, it's coming back. So dominance is a person who places emphasis on accomplishing results, the bottom line, and very confident. So they're known to be seeing the big picture, can be very blunt, accept challenges, get straight to the point. So these are the people who they describe them as the ones that as soon as they hit a situation, like I think of group projects, that's the person who's going to be like, this is what we're doing, this is how we're going to do it, get it done now. And like that's just who they are. They don't really think too like deeply about it, but they're just like their goal is to get it done. And then you have influence, who is a person who emphasizes or who places emphasis on influencing or persuading others, openness, and build relationships. So their behaviors are showing enthusiasm, optimistic, likes to collaborate, and like doesn't like being ignored. So these are the people. Like these are the ones who like to bring people together. Might be the one that like keeps those social events alive, or might know like, oh, I know a person who can get you in contact with the they're those people. And then steadiness is a person who places emphasis on cooperation, sincerity, and dependability. So their behaviors are they don't like to be rushed, they're calm, calm mannered, calm approaches, supportive actions. So they're the good listeners. They're the ones who will, just be there and kind of like take in a situation. And they're more there for support more than anything. And they're just like the one to kind of like I think of like a mellow person. And then conscientiousness or compliance is person who places emphasis on quality and accuracy, expertise, and competency. So their behaviors are like enjoying independence, objective reasoning, wants the details, and fears being wrong. So these are people who are very like detail oriented people who are very like, this has to happen, this has to happen, this has to happen, and very like to the point. Yeah. So, and I think of those people as like very slow to fully react, I guess, or like to really solve the problem. They're the ones who are probably coming up with all the different varieties of ways it can go, pros and cons. I think of the people who are like safety, like where it's like, well, this could go wrong and this could go wrong and this could go wrong. Like that's what I think of. But so these are the different ones. Is there anyone that you like heard and was like, that's me?
A mix between, I forgot what the word was, but I and S. Those
Steadiness. Got that calmness.
yeah, the steadiness. But I like to bring people together. I just don't need to be like you said they don't like to be ignored. And I don't like to be ignored, but I also don't want the attention either. So it's
Yeah,
like
the influence. Yeah, just like speaking on. Well, some of the behaviors. But yeah, so you feel like you're stronger steadiness and then like slightly influence there is in there too. I feel it. And so yeah, and then which one did you think like you're like, no, that's not me?
the last one. I don't
Okay.
know. This yeah. The details I like I appreciate them, but I try not to stress about it too much.
Mm-hmm.
Purposely like try not to.
Yeah. So I feel that. I feel like I'm very similar. Very similar. I know when I took this, I was actually a heavy influence and steadiness myself.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely on the optimistic and enthusiasm. Uh, yeah, you guys, come on down. No, but yeah, so what I'm gonna do is like pretty much use the different colors. So you have your paint, and I'm gonna have my markers. And what you do is you just assign, like, pick your color that you feel like goes with your steadiness, since you said that was like your strongest, and just pick that color. Because usually I do pouring, so this one's going to be more like free draw and kind of letting yourself go. So me personally, I'm going to use green for influence, and because my dominant trait is definitely influence. So what I'm going to do is just kind of like choose a shape, choose, I don't know, maybe like some lines that you would want to do for your paper or for your canvas, and paint the amount that you feel like is truly like that part of you, like the steadiness, and like what does it look like to you. I'm trying to think of what influence. What do I think of for influence?
got the wall falling on me. There we
Mm. Ooh. So when you think of steadiness, though, or like your dominant trait, uh, I guess the question is like, what do you feel like makes that very unique for you? Like, what does the steadiness provide for you?
go. Like trustworthiness, which I need.
Mm,
Like it makes me feel safe.
yeah, I can see that. So which color did you choose for steadiness?
I chose blue.
Oh,
It's
what
very
made you choose?
calming.
Yeah, I was like, it's funny because blue is what's associated with steadiness, and I think it is for that calming.
Yeah, it's like waters, like if you were by the beach or by the lake.
Hmm. So if you could complement that strength, how would you complement it?
Uh, what do you mean?
Like if you were to, for your strength, like being steadiness or how you see it, I guess like in what way do you feel like is the beauty behind steady, like for yourself?
Um,
Because I know you mentioned trustworthy, so it's like, do you feel like you're a very trustworthy person
yeah, I think
yourself?
I'm reliable. Like I can always be there for someone when they need me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, and everybody needs somebody, and if I can be that somebody, that's great.
Everybody needs somebody.
Everybody needs somebody.
That's their dream. I believe it
Mm.
because I feel like no. No, but I look at it because so my heavy one was influence, and I always like and I always find it funny because like with Myers-Briggs and everything, they still put me at as an extrovert, but like by like a point. Um, I'm like borderline introvert, extrovert. And the fun part about it is that like what I personally am interested in though is uniting people more. And so I think that's why influence becomes so heavy on me because I'm like, I'm really into connecting and kumbayaing at the,
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely big on like the unity stuff.
Yeah,
Like I like feeling that.
I think that's where I am too. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
you need the steadiness to get to the influence.
No, and so that's the fun part about this is like each person definitely needs each of them if you really think about it. Like, I don't think a dominant person could strictly be dominant because like they're the ones surpassing these issues of like, you know, they might be like, oh, we need to fix a fire. There's a fire. All I know is to like, you know, yell for help and I don't know, maybe put something on top of it. But then who knows? Then you got like the conscientiousness running through like, do you see that huge gas pipe over there? You should probably leave. Uh, we have these different people with their different strengths. And I
Yeah,
think the steadiness is like the one that can probably like make everybody a little calmer, probably bring everybody like to this more. understanding of one another. And then influential is probably the one putting everybody together in the first place.
Right.
So there's definitely a need for all of them, which I think is why, like, I think every person still contains that, but it's just what is really pushed. So definitely, definitely love it. And I use green because I think influence is like vibrant, and I always use green.
Green is a very lively color. It's my favorite.
Is it really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, snap. Yeah, it's like if I could, I'd do green everything.
It's the color of life and wisdom and what else is it? Yeah, life, wisdom, youth.
I think of growth also.
Yes, and growth.
Yeah, like I definitely think of growth and becoming.
Mm. What's funny is green, I see as growth, but like the phrase coming of age, I see like orange.
Hmm,
It's weird. Like a blood orange.
I can see that.
I don't know why, but yeah.
You know, part of me, like when you said that, the first thing I thought of is like sunsets.
Yeah.
Like I
Hmm.
think of those like it's downhill from me. Here's the sunset showing the the ending, the ending of day and turning into night. Did you choose a shape for your steadiness?
Yes. It started off as a triangle and then this weird little thing.
Oh, I like that. What made you go like for one with angles and two the triangle?
Um, because triangles have a not this one, but usually like isosceles triangles, like it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of balanced. But I
Mm.
feel like I'm completely that, so I picked a different um, triangle.
You're like, ah, it's too balanced.
Balanced, like I'm a little chaotic, um, which is also why I added the little extra thing too.
Adds a little edge. Pun intended. Yeah.
You did there.
I'll work hard on that. And then I guess like my other thought is when it comes to your strength, like how do you see it when you react or like in different situations like your interactions and your relationships?
Steadiness. Well, because I know like people will come up to me and they know that I'm a trustworthy person and I can help them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you feel like all your like relationships, like your family and like your friends, like that's been a huge thing for like how you feel with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely. Um, I feel like that is if no one knows anything about me, like that's the one thing they know is that when
Mm.
push comes to shove, they can come to me, talk to me, ask me to do something. And to the best of my ability, like I'll do it or send them to someone who can.
Yeah. Have you found anything difficult with that?
Yes. Um,
You answered that a little too quick.
it's because I see it in my mom too. Like, and we get on her about it, but like we'll take on way more than we can actually do, and we'll
Mhm.
do it, but then we'll stress out and like it's not healthy.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. And so I think being able to create boundaries with
Mhm.
your gifts is
Yeah.
important. because I think that's where my steadiness kicks in, because I'm a person who likes to I definitely like to be the sound mind with people, because I'm very slow to react, very slow, and and so I think because of it, it helps to listen and be able to hear everybody and really like work towards that. But then it does create this um, feeling of being overwhelmed and needing space. So when I feel like I'm taking care of too many people at the same time, it's called self-care days.
Yes. Those are important and very necessary.
Yeah.
This
And I
is
feel
it.
like you use your strength to take care of you.
Mm.
Like trusting yourself, loving on you.
No. Respect yourself. Have you seen that video?
I
Just
feel
imagine.
like I have.
Love yourself.
I need to get that and just post it somewhere.
Speaking the truth.
Yeah. Um,
What's next?
yeah. All right. So on to our second color. So the second one that you feel that you are, which I think you said influence,
Mm-hmm.
um, that's another one, like your second personality, even though it may not be as dominant as your first, it's still part of you. It's still what makes you you. And so I would think of like, what ways does it balance with your dominant trait? And how do you visualize it? Like, do you see it, calming down one piece, or do you see it like pushing your steadiness, or do you see it, I don't know, like how does it complement your dominant trait, and try to like visualize that, and then choose a color that you believe is with it, and yeah, go with a shape, or again, like try to see if you can like visualize that and put it with your dominant trait on your canvas.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Let's see.
Pick a color, any color.
Well, I think I want to pick green for that one.
Ah, you did my number.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm. So which color did you choose?
Green.
Oh yeah, you said green.
But now I'm questioning myself.
Why?
I want it to be orange or not.
Mm. What makes you question orange?
Because I feel like orange is my essence. Like that is the part of me that likes to interact with people, that likes to be seen.
Mm.
But it's very
So you're looking at it as a little more vibrant, sunshiny.
yeah, like
I can see that.
like wants to be with people, brighten their day.
You're like, I'm sunshine on your cloudy day.
Yeah.
So I guess that thought process, do you think that's how it complements your steadiness?
Mhm. Yeah. I think steadiness is just what I want to be overall, but then I realize that it's because I want to be with people and people
Mm.
they can trust.
It's funny because you chose that for influence, and I chose it for for steadiness, because steadiness is definitely my second one.
That's
But
good.
I chose it because I think it helps with my interaction, in the sense of like, um as I'm talking to everybody and whatnot, and still having the energetic side, I think this is what like calms me, but still keeps me alive. So it's like still very, I don't know. You have this, it's like it's not bottled up. It's definitely not bottled up. I can be calm, but I think I'm still a fiery calm.
Hmm. Oh, firecracker.
I'm like, I'm just turning from a blue flame to a red flame. No idea what that means.
No one knows. They'll just say it and be like, "You don't get it."
It gets the people going. No. But I loved, I don't know. I think it's because I grew up around steadiness.
Mm.
Um, or at least like my mom is steady. My mom definitely has her steady side. So I feel like she's always been the one to like
Calm.
push. Like I'm all over the place and she's like, it's just Jasmine. Come hither. No, you need, oh, okay, but you're gonna go back. Oh, okay. I'm here when you need me, babe. But
Like you need that though. She had what you need.
mm-hmm. Because can you imagine two people just like two firecrackers growing up together?
Ooh.
Like I'm still convinced like too much of anything is a little rough. Not really not my not my forte. Which again, where it's like you get to sit there and see the beauty. So this is still on topic, but I have like these little quotes that I like keep that are like very heavy for me. I'm not really sure how other people feel. But like the one is like, of course, the Marianne Williamson, like our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we're powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. So like, I mean, that sounds very like sarcastic, but it's really like heavy for me. Cause like I think the thing is like when you think of like these social settings and when you go into these different places, I feel like different personalities become more admired, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes, like, I feel like things get outshined. And, like, I know I'm not a dominant person. So I know when I walk into a room, I'm probably not the person people go, oh, snap, it's Jasmine. Like, I'm not there. And personally, I don't want to. Um, like I don't mind if it's like friends and family. It's like, oh, Jasmine, woohoo, kind of thing. But like to be the center of attention and be like, oh, and then, get into the group projects and be like, all right, you guys, this is what we're doing, this is what we're doing, like pretty much pushing everybody like this is what's happening. Like it's just not in me. And because it's not in me, then it's like I feel like my interactions with people can get challenged because I feel like if I'm not as dominant, then I'm not getting my voice heard. And if I'm not getting my voice heard, then I just sit in the shadows. And if I'm sitting in the shadows, then you start coming into these negative thoughts of like, oh, I feel like nobody likes me or nobody cares about me or nobody's, like it feels like I'm like in my little dark circle when actuality is just that like I have a different thing I bring to the table that that dominant person doesn't have, or it's like to really appreciate that piece, because then it's like when my time to be at the table is there, it's appreciated. And it's like you find those tables that you're supposed to be sitting at anyways, and you can like figure out what's best for you. So random, but that's something that I always like
Yeah.
about like that quote. And so really embracing those like characteristics, which is like the whole reason for this in general, because I think that's again, like with social media and all these different things, I think we get wrapped up into who we want to be rather than admiring who we already are.
Yeah.
And so definitely admire your traits. Let that light shine. Let that influence, do some magic with that steadiness. And then boom, boom. I don't know why boom is weird. The rest of it meant something. Right. And then how do you see your influence side as a gift?
As a gift. I just like to help people.
It's gonna keep coming up. You're gonna see.
That's it. No, I just feel bad because I feel like I'm giving the same answer for everything.
Mm-mm. What does that say about you though? Like I feel like that should say how you see yourself.
It's a pro and a con, to be honest. I like to help people, but then I like base my existence off of helping people.
Mm-hmm. Have you created like boundaries around that, or like do you see yourself where it's like, yes, this is my strength, but like it's kind of like a superpower. Like you don't want to utilize your superpower too much.
Yeah, I've definitely like set boundaries and really cut stuff off. But it's
Mm-hmm.
hard because then I feel bad because I'm like, but they needed help, but they just didn't need it from me.
Yeah. It's like you have to unlock those other pieces of you though. Because like this part is like dominant for you. It sounds like, you really love helping people to the point where it makes you happy to help those. But like, to what extent? Like you don't want to I tell everybody about like your cup. Like I have a full cup. Like when I'm taking care of myself, because I have my like self-care days where I may get my favorite food, I might get my nails done, I might do my hair, might watch your favorite movie, might, I don't know, like there's different things where I'm like, this is me time. This is Jasmine's phone is to the side. I'm not answering anybody. This is me. And then that refills my cup so that by the time somebody asks me, hey, can you help this or can you do this for me? I could be like, you know what? I actually can because I feel I I have that energy for you. I can give you that. And I mean, at first it was like hard because I think saying no to somebody was the most difficult thing I think I've.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I have to tell them like even because I catch myself still doing it now where I'm like, oh, I can do this, 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 and this today. And I'm like, I literally schedule like 5 things at 2. I'm like, well, how's that gonna work? And it's like you're not gonna give your whole self to everything. It's just not gonna happen. So then you have to start prioritizing what's more important, who can, and if somebody doesn't take it, then it's not your fault. It's like, hey, I have to help my mom out because my mom is, I don't know, let's say my mom's sick or something, like I need to help her, so I'm not going to be able to attend your event today. Like it's like, and it's up to the other person to either understand, or it's like it's not up to you to make everybody
And
happy.
that's a hard thing to like discover. Be like, it's not your fault. It's not your job.
That speech that you give after you tell somebody no, you're like, I can't help it. I can't. I am not able to. It's fine. It's okay. If they accept me, cool. If they, and then like the other person on the other end, like, oh no, you're fine.
You're like, I'm so sorry.
Oh my god, okay, get yourself together. All right, my bad. I thought this was a whole situation. Oh my god. Funny story is I remember I tried out for 2 soccer teams because I was thinking about switching. And I got into both teams and I had to make a choice. And I knew I wanted, like, I had more opportunity with one of the team, like the other team that I hadn't been on before. And And I legit like was like, I don't know what to do. I'm like panicking because I'm like, they both want me. What do I do? Oh my God. And it's like, I'm just a player. I really don't know what those, but I thought this was a life or death situation. I had to make a choice. Like this was like red pill or blue pill situation. And I was like, oh my God, I freaked out. I called them and the guy I had to say no to. I remember getting off the phone and bawling my eyes out. So I was like, I am so sorry. Like, I chose a different team. I know you hate me now. It's like, meanwhile, they're like, I'm gonna call the other player. We need to. We have somebody behind you if you're not able to. Like, well then, all right, that's fine. But so it's things like that you have to really think about, which is fun. But all right, how's it looking for your second?
I messed up a little, but it's okay. I'm fixing it.
There's no such thing as a mess up in art.
I, that's true, I guess.
Like
Yeah.
art, the beauty is in the beholder.
I'm just not beholding it right.
Not beholden it.
All right.
All right. So how's it looking? Good? You feel
Yeah.
good? Feel great? Wusa.
Feeling
What's
pretty.
your thoughts so far?
It's fine. This is nice.
Any thoughts for yourself, I should
We
say.
learning about what is more dominant in my life. Like even as I'm painting this, I'm like, maybe I should have switched the colors.
Mm,
Um, because maybe steadiness isn't number one, maybe influences. Or they're kind of just really wrapped up together.
mm.
Yeah.
What started making you change your mind about that?
Just because of the only aspect of influence that I don't feel close to is like the ignored, like don't like being ignored. And like nobody likes to be ignored, but that part doesn't really matter to me. Like as long as everybody else is happy, I'm cool.
Yeah.
And steadiness is what kind of fills that hole, I guess. Is knowing that like even if I'm ignored, people still know that I made it happen. Like they still know that I'm there and I'm consistent and I'm trust.
Yeah. Do you
Yeah.
feel like because I'm curious about that aspect when I read it, where like I'm wondering if also a piece of that is acknowledgement. Like it's rather not being ignored as like a human being, but ignored as like what you did.
Yeah. Okay. I can see that.
I'm curious if it was. I'm not going to tell you that that's what it is,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm interested in because in my head, I that's why I felt the same way. Is like I don't think I hate being ignored because I like being on the sidelines and watching people.
Yeah.
I'm like, look at everyone having all this fun. I'm gonna be a great grandmother one day. All right. So your next color. Oh, did you say something? Oh, okay. Um, no, it froze for a second. I'm interested. But your next color. Um, so this goes into your, I guess, your lighter pieces of who you are. So your third most dominant trait. We're gonna stick with dominant trait.
Again.
Uh, so that leaves dominance and compliance. Dominance being the take action, and compliance being more of like the let's look at every angle before we approach this.
Okay. Boom. Red.
How did I want to do? I think this. All All right, you have to promise that you do not make fun of my painting and coloring.
Of course not.
This is a safe space. I forgot to say that in the beginning. This is a safe space.
If
If you go out saying Jasmine says no.
Dominance, influence, steadiness.
Steadiness, compliance. And then I'm going to send to you the actual like assessment. So then that way you can
Yeah,
take it and see what you think about it.
that'd be great.
And feel free to share because I'm curious myself. Because it's always fun because I usually send out the assessment beforehand, or that was the original plan. But instead, I didn't know who was going to be taking the class. But yeah, it's interesting because I did hear, I think Ashley even, when she took the assessment, it was different than what she had assumed. Especially the way you're looking at steadiness versus influence. Be interesting. But it's looking good. It is looking excellent. Excelente. But I think mine got really scientific by accident because I'm pretty sure these are cells and a nucleus or a DNA and cells. One of the two. It's definitely science based by accident.
I'm fixing my influence.
You can always fix your influence. What is it? How does something influence people? It was something like that.
Okay.
All right. How's it looking? Feel good? Is it reflecting you? Do you feel like it's reflecting that personality?
Oh, it's definitely reflecting.
Perfect. That's how it should be. That is where it is. All right. So with this one, the fun part about these last two is that these are like the smaller pieces of you. So how do you feel like you balance you did the conscientiousness or
Yeah.
dominant? Okay, huh. So how do you feel like that balances?
Oh, I just did dominance. Dominance.
Oh, dominant.
I feel like when people don't listen to me, I get dominant. So like, I'll be like, I know what I'm talking about, guys. So it kind of like latches on to other stuff, like when those fail me, the dominant.
It's interesting that you said like when it fails you, like as if it's like dominance is like your second personality that pops up where you're like, and now I'm gonna be.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Not with influence per se, but like with steadiness.
Do you feel like you show out differently when it comes to job versus like family and friends, or like professional environments versus personal environments?
Well, it's a matter of timing. Like for work, the job situation, um, for the most part, I would listen before I get dominant. Like it would well, if I know what I'm talking about, it'll come out quickly. But
Mm-hmm.
with family, it'll be a little more slow. Like even though I know what I'm talking about, it's the respect that's there. It's like ease them to
Mm-hmm.
the answer. It's like, okay. Especially because I'm one of the younger ones, right? So
Yeah.
it's like respect your elders, respect people older than you. I'm gonna
Mm.
slowly get you to the answer. Be like, yeah.
Interesting. So do you think have you ever like thought about your values, like what you value, like in life, like honesty, or you
Yeah.
value family?
Honesty and well, I feel like honesty is number one though, and
Mhm.
because even if family lies to me, we got problems.
Yeah.
Um, Honesty,
'Cause I'm
family, trustworthiness, like yeah,
because I'm curious if like that influences like because as you were talking about like in your professional versus personal, like how you're slower with personal, would that have to deal with values that weren't fully established in like professional? Because I mean, professional, we're kind of like in this idea of, like you said, you're just respecting it. This is what you have to do. This is my job. So I feel like a different personality can like jump out real quick. Like you're still using your strengths,
yeah.
but like another piece of you kind of pushes through because you're like, the environment in itself.
Like the environment sets up that people have specific roles, right?
Mm-hmm.
So and you need dominance for some of those, but with family, it's like you don't necessarily need dominance.
Because everybody also knows each other in family settings. It's like you already know what I'm capable. You already know, like, because I know for me, I think of, I try not to make it a thing, but I do care
Uh-oh.
still oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, you
Okay.
froze for a second.
So it's like I still think of like how other people view me, and that like is concerning because like sometimes I'm like, okay, I don't want them to think like I know I'm a very straightforward person. With my friends and family, I'm blunt. I can tell you how I feel, what I'm thinking. I don't I don't really filter anything because in my head I'm like, you know, I mean well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that used to always crack me up. My ex used to say that. It's like, I knew you meant well though. So like I'm like, that used to pull me through. But like new people, it's like they're like, oh my God, you were really straightforward with that. Like, oh, that came off very, very strong, or this, that, and third. And I'm like, oh, okay. So now I've like adjusted where I ease into people because I'm like, I don't know if they can handle this yet. So I'm gonna like keep adding a little bit more here. So like professionally, I'm like, yeah, perfect, great, great, awesome. And then all of a sudden we have like a thing where I'm like, oh, we can okay, so but definitely the environment can change who which traits are more dominant for sure, or what comes out. But I definitely want to do a paint class on values. I really like values. I think it sets the tone for life. Um, but okay, so did you get your third your third color done?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we're on to the final color of yeah, the disc. So your last one I think is compliance. And my last one is dominance. So again, think again like your color and how it influences your other personalities, your other pieces of your disc assessment, how it works with it or works against it or really like does something to it. So just focus on that and then yeah, put it on the canvas the way that you see it. Um, just mainly visualize how it uh, collaborates with the others.
Compliance was detail oriented, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was like, I'm not dominant. I try, y'all. I try. I'm like, we're gonna do this, and then I start cracking up. Like, I'm kidding. What do y'all want to do?
Is this even the right color? Well, it's what we're using now.
It is what it is.
I use off-white.
Not off-white. Eggshell. Cream.
It's called antique parchment.
Oh, antique parchment. I do know that one.
And I mixed it with a little tan to make it a little bit darker, just a little bit.
I will say, ever since I actually started really looking at my colors and stuff when I'm painting, because I was given like, I want to say like 20 different whites, and now I can tell the difference between all of them.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, I can tell you right now what the difference between. I'm like, oh my God. As I'm painting, I'm like, this is definitely a little bit more off than I wanted it to. It probably didn't help that Spellman had us do the white dresses.
Oh.
And I think my dominance does something.
It's gonna be good.
I'm kind of proud of this right now.
I wasn't completely proud of it until this moment because the last color fixes everything.
Ooh, it's interesting how that works. It's like the little piece means a lot. It does. A little extra piece. Metaphorically. Sorry. I could see you say calm down. I was like, I looked up, I was like, calm down.
There's nothing wrong with them.
They just want their new mom. That's all.
They just want to play, which is valid, I guess. What do you do? Sleep and play, but
this is when they're just like, I just need comfort and love.
it was a rough first week because they had a rough time adjusting.
Mm-hmm.
But since then, they're so precious. They sleep all cuddled under me.
They're gonna love you forever.
I hope so.
Be like, I was like, that's right. I think my dog is like a cat right now. Because he's a cuddler, but he's like, he does different things where I'm like, this is very cat-like of you. Like he perches. He likes to be on top of things so he could like be over stuff.
Oh.
I'm like, why are you up there? And like, how'd you get there? Like,
how'd you even do this?
Like, it makes absolutely zero sense that you did that. Like, he thinks he's small, and I'm like, no.
You are not.
Like, I emptied this whole area during my drive up in Florida. There's a full empty space in the back seat for him. And then all my stuff was piled on the other side. I look back there, he's on top of the pile. I'm like, why?
Like, this is what you wanted me to do, right?
I made all this space for nothing. Like, if that was the case, I could have just put everything laid out and you sit on top of it.
Keep you on your toes.
Mm-hmm. Tippy toes at this point. Yeah, full on tippy toes. Mm-hmm. So the fun thing about your last one, your least um, dominant trait, how do you feel like that makes you unique in a sense? Having that as your lesser trait.
Um, and details aren't the I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. But let me just answer the question. I can see it, but I don't base everything off of it. So it gives me a view of the bigger picture rather than the details.
Mm, okay.
Yeah. It makes me level headed. I'm usually the mediator of the friend group
Yeah.
because I can take the details and see something bigger. Be like, let's not focus on this. Let's not focus on these little things. What about this?
So I think it's interesting. So with steadiness being your more dominant and then dominance being your least, like how do you handle or do you feel like you handle people who are dominant very well then?
Oh yeah. Um, yes, because I know what I bring to the table. Like I'm confident in it. So when I'm
Mm-hmm.
another with a dominant person, I mean, as long as it doesn't get disrespectful, I'm like, I mean, and even if sometimes if it does, I'm like, okay, that's what you feel, and I'll let you lead if you have to.
So it's like that dominant part of you does have an understanding of dominance.
Yeah.
That's good. It's like, yeah, my dominance is lacking. But it's interesting because I utilize it with my influence. Like,
Mm.
I feel like when I need to be, I can jump it out real quick. Like, all right, this is how we got to do.
Because I
But
with my influence, I don't. Like I'm very passive.
yeah, I mean, the only time that I'm ever like that is in work environments.
Mm.
My work environment, my dominant side will come out where it's like, okay, because I start to realize that a lot of things that I want to get done, it's like I have this vision in my head, but I'm learning that not everybody sees the same vision. So then you have to kind of like learn how to just push it yourself.
Yeah.
And so that's where my dominance comes. Like it's been slowly growing over the years where I'm like, okay, I need to get this together. Ooh, is that a thunder?
Mm.
There's thunder over here.
Oh yeah.
All right. I'm curious to see the
Rough draft.
creations.
I'll show you the rough draft. There's a
The
lot
rough draft. I'm glad you called it a rough draft.
because you'll see why when I show it to you. And I'm very detailed. I mean, and I just said that was my least dominant trait. But when it comes to art, I'm very detailed on it.
Now that's interesting.
Because I don't know, like every piece of the canvas is purposeful, you know, and I don't want to just do something haphazardly, like, and it not have a reason.
So like it's interesting because the way that they do the wheel, it's like DISC. So it's interesting because that conscientiousness and steadiness are next to each other. And
Mm-hmm.
and so sometimes I feel like the ones that are next to each other sometimes can like
Flow in.
because actually they have this circle. Let me see if I can find it real quick. The song stuck in my head is terrible. um so they look at conscientiousness and stability at or steadiness. They put those two as like stability because like accuracy and support.
Hmm.
And then like I and S, influence and steadiness. Influence is known as enthusiasm, steadiness is support. So then they look at both of them together as collaboration.
Oh.
So, and that's why I was like, my dominant and influence, I think, start to complement each other because the dominant is results in influence, enthusiasm, and then that calls to action. So I'm like, well, I can see that because I'm definitely an action person. I like to get on in there. Like that's why I like art. I'm like it to me it's like putting my brain in an action form.
Oh,
Right.
okay. Yeah.
Let me
Yeah.
ah, get this together. Like it nurtures my steadiness side and it definitely nurtures my compliant or conscientious, but I think it's mainly mixed with my steadiness and influence when it comes to art. No worries. I was like, we're like 2 minutes ahead of schedule. My baby's been
Oh. Coolness. There we go.
which I'm very happy that you have paint. I forget that there's some other artists.
I know. It's cathartic when I'm not stressing myself out about it.
I feel it.
Okay.
I was like, usually I set up a whole environment of like some candles or incense and like dim the lights, have all the lights focusing on my canvas, and then like well, I have a Moscow mule. Some people get their wine and they drink. And then you put on some smooth R&B type deal.
Yeah.
I'm in that zone.
My piece comes from more chaotic things, but
Huh. Now that's interesting.
yeah. I'll probably have on something that's real ignorant, and I'll just be like, "Pop that pussy."
I'm mad you said real ignorant too.
It'll
Yeah.
be because like I know it, and if anybody else would show up, it would probably give them anxiety. They'd be like, "I'm not at peace right now," and I'd be like, oh, "This is so great, though. This is it."
Huh. Now that I wasn't expecting. I did not expect that one.
Unexpected. Okay.
All right. Dun, 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 dun. This is Monet. All right. So do it like a presentation. All right. Describe it. Let us know how it is. That's beautiful. Okay.
Okay. Um, and she is a bunch of things. As you can see. Okay. So mainly, she is steady, which is the blue, and it kind of goes throughout all of aspects of her life. So it's all around.
Mm-hmm.
but so is influence. And influence really is not more dominant, but it's the motivation behind the steadiness. So it's kind of throughout. It's spreading. It's
Mm-hmm.
um, and when you know you got to get a little dominant sometimes within the steadiness. Like you be steady, you're trustworthy, but people aren't trusting you. You know, get a little dominant. Get a little dominant. A
A
little,
little piece of that.
a little bit. A little bit.
Oh, look at that. All right. Got that little accent highlight.
Um, and everywhere else, everywhere in the background is kind of this off-white color.
Mm.
Um, it's kind of in and throughout, and I didn't mean for it to be like there's more white or more off-white than every other color, but it's just kind of sewn in everywhere. It's kind of like, oh, we're a little bit here, we're a little bit there.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the background. That's what it's supposed to be, is like the background color. Like
Yeah. It's there, but it's not
it's there, but you're not paying
trying.
attention to it.
Yeah. Okay. But it
Yeah,
still makes it known. It's still a part of you.
right.
Oh, I like that.
How
I
about you?
like yours. And then it's like interesting because I see the influence and how it's like shining bright. It's like I can do it all at the same time. And again, you see how that conscientiousness and the steadiness are together because it's like, you definitely put them together. And again, the ankles is what got me because I'm like, wow, it's definitely like a organized, like an organizement, which I think does well.
Yes, you know.
So I guess I'll show mine.
Ooh.
Mine looks like a DNA spiral with some stuff. so so I did mine as like the green being influenced, and I wanted to like that like across because of its main, like I wanted that to be the most dominant. And I made it kind of like a spiral, where you can like kind of see how it's like a almost like a rope, because I think of like tying people together and putting people, uniting and strengthening. So I made it kind of ropey. And then I was thinking, well, I'm definitely steady next. So then that's when I started using the orange yellow color. And I wrapped my influence in it because I think it calms it. It's like it supports you for being an influence, but it's like, let's bring
Yeah.
you down still at the same time, which is where I thought my steadiness is. It's like I want to help people. So I need to keep that steadiness, and that's what like I guess controls it. And then my next was the purple, which is my conscientiousness or compliance side. So I kind of just had it free spirited around as these bubbles because in my head I'm thinking I'm definitely like organized and I like to have things, but it's kind of like in space, like, and we never know when it's going to appear. It's there, it's around my influence, but it's definitely not there. And then I made my smaller circles the dark blue because in my head, I'm like, I don't know, the dominant side of the things I feel like is more, I don't know, I feel like it's more like it's a good thing to have and I can definitely display it. It's like, again, it's like in small chunks. Like I can definitely put it out there when I need to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I can't call myself a dominant person, but I do feel like I can be dominant when need be or make that shine when I can.
Yeah.
That's my little bubbles that will just be like, oh, all right, let me just put y'all in there real quick. Dominant side. And then, and because of my dominant side and how it goes with my influence, I put it inside with the yellow to help with the support.
I like that. I like that a lot.
I was like, I was trying to which I just think is funny because I like science, and I was like, oh, it's a cell. Look at that. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. I guess to close is really just like, again, use this piece to really like reflect on yourself when you can. If you're, um, I personally like to look at these pieces as like how I can look at myself and kind of compliment myself from time to time.
Mm,
Just to say like, oh, I remember doing this, and I remember saying like, this is what I'm great at. Like, just kind of having a moment of like, Jasmine, like you do influence people, or you do like, have these moments, and you're still great. Like this may have happened today, but this is the part of you that's important.
really
And
appreciate how beautiful it is. How
yeah, really take in that beauty for yourself, because I don't think we take a lot of time to compliment ourselves as much as we should. Um,
that's very true. We just criticize.
I mean, the world is set up for us to criticize ourselves, to be honest. Like, I know, like talking to people, it's like, even right now during quarantine, now everybody's kind of like doing their own thing. And now it's like, oh, this person's going out and I've been home, or oh, now this person proposed and this person's like having a baby. And, all these different like life events are happening for other people, while also very tragic events, are occurring. And, you end up comparing yourself or thinking, I don't know, different negative thoughts like you're not where you need to be and stuff. And it's like, you need to just appreciate where you are and who you are.
Right. And I'm just now, it's crazy. It's been most of the year at this point, and I'm just now within these past couple of weeks, like really getting into that. Like, this is where I am, and I have to accept that, and I appreciate that. And I think I always have, but the thing that overshines the appreciation of where I am is like, what do other people think? And it's like,
Mm.
it's not about them at this point.
Uh-huh. To actually sit there and think like, okay, this is this is all for me. Like this is my life. I get to choose. Which is kind of funny, because I just saw About Time. I don't know if you ever saw that.
Hmm.
But one of the things that I just thought was really interesting is, living each day as if it was like the best day ever, or, just having that mindset of like, this is going to be a good day. Like it does change things. And I think it wasn't, yeah. So like putting that in your mind is like, oh, I'm a great person, or oh, this, and it's like, don't have to be cocky about it. It's just being humble and being like, I appreciate the human being that I am. And, as you do that and as you keep putting that in your head, you start to realize when things happen, you're happy for them, or you're recognizing like, oh, you want great things to happen for other people, because like you're like, I'm experiencing this happiness, you should experience this like happiness everywhere, like so I think it definitely helps. It's a positive influence there. But definitely take that in. I hope you enjoyed.